Eritrea's army isn't marching, it's whispering. No tanks, no airstrikes, just silent fingerprints on Ethiopia's burning north. From Waldea to the Red Sea, the war may already be underway. Only this time, it's being fought in the shadows. Way good, fan! Welcome to Semonigna Spotlight, your front row seat to the Horn of Africa's most explosive dramas. Tonight, we uncover a chilling new front in the region's longest feud, Eritrea's alleged war inside Ethiopia. The guns are firing in Amhara, the whispers are rising in Addis, and the smoke is drifting all the way to Asmara. Ethiopia says Eritrea isn't just watching, it's funding, arming, and fighting on Ethiopian soil. So the question shaking the horn tonight, is Eritrea waging war, just not at home? The spark, the Waldea attack that lit the fuse. It started with an explosion, not of rhetoric, but of gunfire. Late September 2025, Waldea city in Ethiopia's Amhara region was rocked by a coordinated assault that left over 470 government soldiers dead. Ethiopian officials claim the attackers weren't just homegrown rebels. They were backed, armed, and advised by two familiar foes, Eritrea and remnants of the TPLF. The Ethiopian government called it a joint operation to destabilize the state, accusing Asmara and Mekelle of colluding to wage war. Both camps denied involvement, of course, but the timing was suspicious. Just as Ethiopia escalates its Red Sea diplomacy and debates reclaiming access to the sea, its northern borders suddenly light up. Getachew Reda breaks his silence. Then came the bombshell interview. In a fiery 45-minute sit-down on global power shifts, Ethiopia's East Africa advisor and former Tigray interim president, Getachew Reda, dropped revelations that had everyone talking. Calm, calculating, and visibly uneasy, he peeled back the layers of Eritrea's alleged war strategy. Eritreans are very wise, he said. They know they don't have the manpower to fight Ethiopia directly. That's why they want to use useful idiots across the border. His words were surgical and explosive. Getachew claimed Eritrea's plan is to wage war inside Ethiopia, not on Eritrean soil. He said Asmara's goal is clear: to drag Ethiopia into chaos by arming and manipulating local insurgents, particularly in Tigray and Amhara, while keeping its own borders untouched. In short, Eritrea wants the war, just not at home. Old foes, new fronts. Let's rewind the clock. Eritrea and the TPLF were allies once, comrades in arms who toppled the Derg regime together. But after independence in 1993, that friendship curdled into one of Africa's deadliest rivalries. The border war of 1998 to 2000 claimed 100,000 lives and froze relations for nearly 2 decades. Then came 2018, the peace miracle. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's historic handshake with Isaias Afwerki earned him the Nobel Prize and melted the ice. But under the surface, old grudges never died. When the Tigray War erupted in 2020, Eritrea jumped in on Abiy Ahmed's side, its troops accused of atrocities deep inside Tigray. Fast forward to 2025, and the alliances have flipped again. Reports now suggest fragments of the TPLF and Eritrean elements are in quiet communication, not as friends, but as co-conspirators against Addis Ababa. A war by proxy, Eritrea's strategy of shadows. What's unfolding now isn't a full-scale invasion. It's something subtler, deadlier. Eritrea's strategy, according to analysts and insiders, is to ignite conflict without crossing borders. Here's how it allegedly works. Funding and intelligence flow through informal channels to armed groups in Ethiopia's north. Weapons shipments, light arms, drones, and communications gear are smuggled through porous border routes in Tigray and Afar.
Propaganda networks amplify grievances among local militias like Fano, framing them as freedom fighters against Abiy Ahmed's government.
It's hybrid warfare, part politics, part insurgency, all deniable. Eritrea's goal, some Ethiopian security officials say, is to keep Ethiopia too divided to ever threaten Asmara again, while deflecting any future Red Sea confrontation away from Eritrean soil. Useful idiots. The internal dimension. Inside Ethiopia, the Fano militia, once hailed as local patriots, has become a wild card. Their rebellion in Amhara has morphed from regional defense to full-blown anti-government warfare. When asked about Fano's alleged foreign ties, Asmara, a senior Fano commander, laughed off the accusations but dropped a telling line: "We'd be happy if Eritrea or the TPLF fought with us, but this is our war." And General Tefera Mamo, a decorated former Defense Force officer now allied with Fano, didn't mince words. If the Federal Army attacks Eritrea or TPLF, we'll attack the Federal Army. That's not just rebellion. That's a fracture in Ethiopia's national defense architecture. It's exactly the chaos Eritrea could exploit. Internal war without external fingerprints. Asmara's diplomatic counterattack. As Ethiopia tightens its rhetoric, even floating the idea of revoking Eritrea's recognition, Asmara is firing back on the diplomatic front. Sources tell Semonigna Spotlight that Eritrea has launched 2 parallel lobbying campaigns: to remove the African Union headquarters from Addis Ababa, arguing Ethiopia no longer represents African unity; to strip Abiy Ahmed of his Nobel Peace Prize, portraying him as a warmonger threatening regional stability. This isn't just diplomatic theater, it's psychological warfare. Eritrea's message to the world is simple: we're the rational actor. Ethiopia's the aggressor. The Red Sea and the locked nation.
120 ሚሊዮን ህዝብ መቆለፍ ነውር ነው ይላሉ። ወይኛ ወይ ልጆቻችን ያሳኩታል። ጥርጣሬ የለውም።
At the heart of this shadow war lies a body of water, the Red Sea. Prime Minister Abiy has said it plainly. 135 million Ethiopians cannot remain landlocked forever. That's not rhetoric, it's policy. And it's rattled Asmara. For Eritrea, Ethiopia's growing hunger for sea access is an existential threat. Allowing Addis to reclaim a Red Sea port, whether through diplomacy or force, would shatter Eritrea's sense of sovereignty. So analysts say, Asmara's best move is to keep Ethiopia distracted, fighting internal wars instead of maritime ones.
In Getachew Reda's own words,
Eritrea wants the next war fought in Amhara or Tigray, anywhere but on its own soil. The proxy puzzle. Who gains what? If the accusations are true, Eritrea gains security at Ethiopia's expense. A fractured Ethiopia can't threaten its borders or maritime control. The TPLF remnants gain survival, a shield from federal crackdowns. And Fano gains leverage, a chance to rewrite Ethiopia's political map under the banner of rebellion. Ethiopia, a country already fractured by ethnic conflict and economic strain, could be plunged into yet another devastating war, one that burns from within, fueled by external hands. The Horn on Edge, a war without borders. The Horn of Africa has seen proxy wars before, but this one hits different. It's not between superpowers, it's between neighbors, old allies turned enemies. And this time, the battlefield isn't the Red Sea coast or the Tigray highlands, it's Ethiopia's heartland. Diplomats in Addis and Nairobi warn that if these accusations hold, the region could unravel again. Eritrea betting on Ethiopia's implosion and Ethiopia betting on Eritrea's isolation. Way good. Fan. This is where we leave it tonight. From the mountains of Woldia to the corridors of Asmara, smoke is rising, and so are the stakes. Eritrea's hand in Ethiopia's chaos, if proven, would mark a new chapter in a 30-year rivalry that refuses to die. As diplomats used to say, in the Horn, wars never end. They just change addresses. So, is Eritrea waging war inside Ethiopia, or just playing the perfect proxy game? Stay tuned. This story is far from over. Way good, and keep your eyes on the Horn.